I'm behind my home here at 3802 Fair Circle, Midland, Texas, home of 10,000 felonies. I want to show you something I just saw recently on the back of Home Depot store right there. Do you see it? There's a security camera. They're looking at me and I'm looking at them. You know, it's right above that garage door. Well, I wrote them in 2012 after I survived a murder attempt and suggested to put cameras in there. It took them about 10 years. I'm going to tell that story. All right, I'm looking at my Facebook. I just posted this morning called the Home Depot email. And it was the email that I'd sent to Home Depot back in 2012 after I survived the murder attempt. I wrote here, I said, on September 4th, 2012, which was about 9 months after I survived a premeditated murder attempt, I emailed the Home Depot Corporation about the crimes at my home. I said, in part, I live directly behind the Home Depot in Midland. There's a wall that separates the back of Home Depot and my backyard. I've had my home broken into many times over the last 2 years, and I was shot in my home by these same people on January 28th of this year. I know firsthand that there is 24/7 truck traffic behind your store, and I think that's highly suspicious, knowing that your store is closed and your loading doors are not open. Now they have 24/7. They man it 24/7, but they didn't back then. I mean, the store was closed, holidays, nobody's there, and this truck traffic coming 24/7. I suspect something highly illegal going on behind your store during the closed hours. My best guess would be drug traffic, since it's so private. This could possibly be part of a drug pipeline. When I went to your store to inquire about cameras due to the murder attempt break-ins at my home, I found that your store does not have cameras in the back of the store. The back of your store is a perfect place for drug traffic, since it's blocked from view by your large building. I'm sure the Home Depot doesn't want drug dealers using their property to transport narcotics to our children. Please install and monitor cameras behind the Home Depot store in Midland, Texas. Okay, this was way back, right after I'd survived a murder attempt. Home Depot customer care replied and said, "Hello, Mr. Webb. Thank you for contacting the Home Depot customer care regarding the security issue at the Midland store. We're truly sorry for what occurred and hope you have fully recovered from the gunshot wound. And no, I'm crippled for life. The issue of store security has been reported to the attention of the store's leadership team for them to immediately address. Thank you again for bringing this matter to our attention. And again, we are truly sorry for what happened to you." You know, I remember going and talking to, it was a redheaded supervisor there at the Home Depot store, and I remember him telling me, "Yeah, we partner with the local law enforcement." And I thought, I bet you I got pictures of them local law enforcement on my security camera. That's back when the secret police were still secret, you know. To my knowledge, they didn't install a camera until about a year ago, and now I have a lot more information than I did back then. 2 store employees told me about prostitution going on behind that store, and Google Earth Maps shows that a live tree was removed from the back of the Home Depot around 2015. This tree sat next to 2 very odd side-by-side manholes, and I suspected one of those manholes was being used for human trafficking. I was posting about this on Facebook and social media, and that's when it got removed. I believe what was going on is that they were actually sex trafficking with the truckers, and they were scheduling it. People were coming out of the attic, going in the tunnel, meeting the truckers, coming back 24/7, like lot lizards at a truck stop. Based on conversations with different people, I'm convinced that the infamous oil show parties and other parties were held in the underground homes, and one of those bunkers is located in my backyard. Here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to just go to the bottom where I got the comments, because I copied and pasted the comments, and I'll show the pictures there. And I said, to my knowledge, the camera wasn't installed. And I want to show you, here, this is the Google Earth view, and this is the live tree. And that's what I was showing here on this one, on this picture's dated here. And here it is, 2014, 10/2/2014. Well, the tree is there, and this is my home here. But then the tree is gone. Okay, you see that? And so it's time stamped in 2016. So it was, and I know it happened before, during 2015. I have another picture. So I know it was 2014, 2015, and that's when they took that live tree out. And that live tree sat next to the 2 side-by-side manholes that I believe were connected to human trafficking. Also, in the backyard of the neighbor's house, is that suspected tunnel entrance was also removed during that same time period. Okay. So I just want to go through there. Here's the side-by-side manholes. This is on the Home Depot side of the wall. Here's the east manhole. 6 foot over is the west manhole. That's real weird. The lid was off that west manhole for a few years. I actually took a picture of it and sent it to the Midland chief of police. My home this way. You can see the mystery sudden link cable hanging down there off that telephone pole. I've got a video on that. Live retrieve was moved 2014, 2015. And like I said, I'm posting stuff on social media, and it was just action, reaction, cover up, cover up, cover up, you know, and never no justice. It was injustice. I believe the people going to these parties were parking in the Home Depot parking lot, going underground in that store, and then coming back to my home via a tunnel that I found on old Google Maps, okay? Tisha Brumley told me, she says, I've been involved in those oil show parties. They're exactly what you say. They're underground homes. She confirmed it. Jessica Hadley told me she'd been to lots of oil shows parties, and there was more than one girl that was raped or murdered. Because in 2010, Angie told me about a girl that died at the 2010 oil show party, and it was covered up by the police that were at the party. And I was showing here on Google Maps, old Google Maps, you put in my address, you look in the backyard of the satellite screen, you don't see nothing. But on the map screen, you see a large bunker in my backyard. I believe that's one of the 4 3-bedroom underground homes that were put in for the Bushes back in the 80s, called the Safe House Project. There was a $7.35 million cost on permit, you know, all the different evidence and proofs on them. Okay. A Home Depot clerk told me that if I see a lot of cars in the parking lot late at night, then it was because they were stalking. Another woman told me that she remembers driving by Home Depot late at night and seeing the parking lot full of cars. Large parties would need a lot of parking, and they would need an excuse to explain it. And I believe that's what was going on. They were parking this big parking lot late at night when the store is closed. They're going in the Home Depot store, and they're coming back via this tunnel right here. You can see it and on Google Earth, and it coming. Here's my home right here. And one lady recorded saying, "It's by your den, by your den." That goes right to my den. And then in the backyard's one of the 4 underground homes. I believe that's where the oil show parties were going on. Thus, multi-billion-dollar oil companies have been bribing elected officials and law enforcement to help cover up these crimes and murders. That's what I believe. I showed this suspected tunnel location to Homeland Security in 2019 because they're supposed to take care of human trafficking. And 2 weeks later, the ground was dug up and concrete was poured. On the same day, then Vice President Pence had an emergency and flew back to Washington. At the same time, Homeland had an emergency, asked me to wait. Pence had been in Midland a couple of months earlier, and I suspect oil company leaders had offered him a donation or bribe to help cover up the oil show party crimes and murders. Okay. You know, he was running for president, right? And I started sending emails to our mayor and city council, and all of a sudden he ends his run for president. I'm showing you here. I got it on. You got it on video where they're pouring concrete behind Home Depot. I was there 2 weeks earlier with Homeland, showing them where I believe a human trafficking murder tunnel is located right there. And I'm very strong feeling that Pence knew about it and was part of it. Pence had an emergency at the same time Homeland did, okay? And I'm showing you here on this date, July 2nd, 2019, the same day I met Homeland, Pence abruptly cancels New Hampshire trip for unspecified reason. He had an emergency come up, had to fly back to Washington, and Homeland had an emergency come up and told me to wait. You know, and that was all happening right before I met them in the Home Depot store. And then Pence was in Midland, just you can tell it was 4/17/19, and that was on 7/2/19. So 3 months later, Pence, 3 months earlier, Pence had been here. He's at an oil rig, meeting oil company leaders, and I suspect that's when they offered him a donation or bribe to cover up the murders connected with the underground homes where the parties were held, where the oil show parties were held. Okay. Interestingly, Bernie Marcos, billionaire and founder of Home Depot, was one of the biggest donors to the Trump-Pence election campaign, and Home Depot was the biggest corporate donor to the election objectors. I'd contacted Trump before, during, and after his presidency about these crimes, but nothing changed. I voted for him because I wanted to see the swamp drain, which never happened. The crimes at my house just continued, year after year, day after day, minute after minute, terror after terror. Just sick crimes have gone on. Home Depot's 93-year-old co-founder, who said nobody works anymore because of socialism, has donated $64 million to elect Trump and the Republican Party over the years. And and that's real interesting, especially if if we find out that there was a tunnel behind the Home Depot store aimed at my house and connected to multiple murders. That seems like it'd be a pretty big deal, And they're wanting, asking the vice president or the president to help cover up murders. Home Depot, largest corporate donor, election objectors. Okay. I got mixed feelings about this, on the election objectors and the whole January 6th deal, but you know which side that they're on. It's the Trump side, right? Sylvia Flores told me that she went to Lee High School and she would get invited to the tunnel parties behind the Home Depot store. I have a print screen showing that. That's what she tells me. I'm 51 now. I remember back at Lee High getting invited to tunnel parties behind the Home Depot store. I think there's a whole bunch of people that here in Midland that know about these parties that were going on behind the Home Depot store. Flo Rivas Rocha told me that her son works at Home Depot and his co-workers heard kids underneath the bathroom floor. That's right where the tunnel's believed to be. The bathroom is right where the tunnel's believed to be. And it goes to my house right where my den is. A lady told me, it's in your den, it's by your den, Anyway, here's Flo Rivas Rocha. So it's not my word against her word. It's not one person. I've documented multiple people and found all this other evidence. I'm convinced myself. And Rob Bid told me that he asked his friend about the basement on their Home Depot store, and she warned him, be careful who you say that to. It's dangerous talk about that. I have a print screen showing this too, and and really what I think, and I do think it's dangerous. These are very extremely powerful, wealthy, smart, dangerous killers, and they'll break in your home, cut your phone lines, kill you, and you have nobody to turn to because the press and the police are working with this organized crime ring, and so. There's a camera behind the Home Depot store, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.